Welcome back. It's been a while. This is going to be a little different than what I usually do. So I'm going to talk about returns on eBay, and this is a hot topic subject. Okay, when people talk about this on my groups that I'm in, people get really nasty. I mean, they get their panties up in a bunch. They're ready to fight. They start calling names. People get really out of control about this subject, about the subject of returns on eBay, because everybody thinks that they have the right answer, okay? Everybody thinks that they're the authority on what you should or should not do. I today am going to present my opinions. You have to do what works for your business model. You have to do what works for you. If you like doing 60-day returns, have at it, okay? If you want somebody to have your item for 60 days, use it, and then on the 59th day decide that they want to return it and you're fine with that, be my guest. Do what works for you. Me, I don't operate like that. And I'm going to tell you why. So we may have a difference of opinion. This is just my opinion. Take what you can, leave out what you don't like. That's it. So I want to tell you how I do things, okay? Now, I've been selling on eBay for about 10 years. The majority of what I sell are pre-owned clothing, okay? So in the past, for the most part, for about the 10 years that I've been selling for the most part, I did not accept returns. Now, I know that some of y'all are dropping on the ground. You're having a fit right now. You're going to tell me that I'm a liar and things of that nature. I'm going to tell you that for about 10 years, I did not accept returns on eBay unless it was my fault. If I do something wrong, if I send out an item that isn't as described, then of course, I have no problem taking that back. I might even let you keep the item because I don't want to be bothered with it. I don't have a problem with that. But for the most part, all of my listings were don't return. And some of you say, well, eBay is going to force you to take a return whether you want to or not. Utterly and completely false. I don't know why people keep saying this. I was presented with some issues during the course of the 10 years, where people wanted to return things because it didn't fit, because they didn't like it, etc., etc. And most of the time, I would decline it. Sometimes they would escalate it. I've had eBay side with me on numerous occasions when it's obvious because of their emails that they just simply don't like that exact shade of green or whatever the case may be. I've had eBay side with me on numerous occasions. So stop with the fear tactics. Stop believing that oh my God, I have to take returns. False, utterly false. eBay will side with you sometimes. It's a case-by-case basis. You win some, you lose some. So let me get that out of the way first. Now, recently what I've done, and I would say recently within the last, let's say 2 months, 2 or 3 months, I have decided to start accepting returns within 14 days. Once again, I know that some of y'all are like grasping, clutching your pearls, okay? Because you're not understanding how am I only taking 14-day returns. Well, it's simple because that's what I want to do. Because that's what I think makes sense. Now, this whole online buying experience has created consumers who are completely entitled. They have no boundaries. They feel that they can do as they wish. In my life, I don't operate like that. And that's not how I operate my store. So for me personally, no, you cannot take, my dress that I sold you. No, you cannot go wear it to the park, get your body odor on it, your sweat, okay, your deodorant marks, and then decide on the 59th day that you want to return that dress. That's not how I roll. Now, I'm going to tell you some things, some of the reasons that people give for accepting those returns after 60 days. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think it makes sense. Okay, so once again, you have to decide for yourself. This may turn into a 2-part video depending on how much I can cover because there is a lot to cover. And of course, if you have questions or comments, you can leave them down below and you can like, subscribe, share with whoever you've been having a debate with about whether you should accept returns. Once again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't accept returns. Obviously, if you've done something wrong, then you need to make it right with your customer. So one of the biggest things that I hear, one of the biggest arguments that I hear for doing 30 and 60-day returns is, well, the big box stores do it. Okay, you know what type of big brand stores I'm talking about. Those big ones, those gigantic stores that you can go in and buy a bunch of stuff from China for pennies on the dollar. Those type of stores, okay? And everybody says, well, all these other retailers accept returns indiscriminately. You should be doing the same thing. I completely and utterly disagree with that sort of reasoning. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because I am not a big box retailer. It's that simple, okay? Big box retailers are employing thousands of employees. They have these gigantic systems in place. They can pass on the cost of these indiscriminate returns onto the next customer. Okay, so if Sally wants to go and Sally wants to buy a TV from this big box retailer, and on the 59th day, just before that receipt is due to expire, she decides that she wants to bring in her TV that she's used for 2 months and she no longer wants it, okay, that big brand is going to take that TV back. When that happens often enough, what's going to happen the next time around? Well, what they do is they're going to raise the price of their other products to compensate for all these dishonest people who are deciding that they want to return way after the fact, okay? Now, that might work for them, for a big box retailer who's selling, crap loads of stuff every single day. They can offset the cost. How can I do that when I'm selling 3, 7, maybe 10 items a day, okay? Now, in my case, I'm only selling maybe 2 items a day, which I'm fine with. Eventually, I'll grow, but that's what I'm happy with at this time. But how can I do that? How can I continue to pass on the cost to people who are online shopping for used clothing at the absolute cheapest price that they can find? If you've been selling clothes for any amount of time, you will notice that the competition is fierce, the competition is steady, it continues to grow, and at this point you really have to sell your clothing items for, as low as you can, because you're competing with 500 other people who have similar or exact items. So tell me how I can sell a top. Okay, let's say that I sell this top for $15, okay, with free shipping. And there's 500 other people with that same exact shirt or similar shirt for $15, okay, $14, $13. They're selling it less than me to begin with, because we're all in a race toward the bottom to see who can offer the lowest price. So how can I pass on the cost to the next customer if I continue to accept returns from people after 60 days? So now I have to price this shirt, or this dress, whatever the heck it is that I sold. I had initially sold it for $15. So now, because of the return process and the cost that I've incurred allowing these returns after 30 or 60 days, now I have to go, and when I relist that item, if it's still even in usable condition after 60 days, now I'm going to raise the cost of that top to $17 when everybody else has it for 13, 12, 11, 10, okay? Just let that marinate for a minute. How does that work? How does that benefit me in any way, shape, or form? If I'm indiscriminately just taking any return that anybody decides that, they no longer want it. Or because they didn't read the description, because you put a detailed description on there, and now, because they don't know how to read, or they don't want to take the time to read, they don't want the item anymore, and now that's your problem. So now you accept this return, you have to raise the cost of it to compensate for your losses. How does that make sense? So that's the argument, is that the big box retailers do it, you should do it too. I've just explained to you why you cannot continue to, when you're small like me, okay, when you're only doing a few items a week, or you're just not really big and you don't have employees, to me that model doesn't really work, okay, because there's too much competition. So that's one of the main reasons that people give. Let it also be known, and what I also have to say about that, a lot of people will argue that all stores allow returns. False. Lies. Nonsense. Not true. It's not true at all. I am dealing in used clothing. The Goodwills in my area, all of them, none of them accept returns, okay? So when people try to compare, it's apples and oranges. When you're trying to compare someone returning something to a store that was new with tags, to a big store, and someone returning a used clothing item, it's not the same concept, in my opinion. Now, I think it really depends on how and what you view eBay is. eBay has been historically for me and will continue to be, as long as I know, a gigantic thrift store or yard sale. Okay, that's how I view eBay. And maybe it's because of what I sell and what I shop for on eBay. I know that there are some people who think of eBay as like kind of like an Amazon, but to me, I don't see eBay as being that. eBay is my go-to when I'm looking for a used item. I don't go to Amazon. So to me, when I'm filtering through all these used clothing items that people have posted on eBay, to me, I feel like I'm in a giant yard sale. I'm in a giant thrift store and I have my choice of used clothing items. So because I view it as like a big thrift store, then I look at the thrift stores in my area. They do not allow returns. It's a used clothing item. So that's the first reason. Okay. Now, another reason that I am not taking 60-day returns is because of my profit margin. I simply do not make enough on each item to validate, to me, taking indiscriminate returns. And what do I mean by indiscriminate returns? Well, it's what I said. Letting somebody have your item for 60 days, and then on the 60th day, the 45th day, or whatever, after they've had it for 4 to 5 weeks, okay, and they've probably worn it, used it, destroyed it, now they want to return it? No, that's what I mean by indiscriminate, and I'm not having it. So, and because one of the reasons why is because of my profit margin. Again, I'm selling used clothing items. I have lots of competitors, okay? And we're all selling the same thing. So, in general, I would say that I would say between $7 to $10 per piece, okay, per clothing item. For me personally, it's not worth it to make $3 on a clothing item. And I know that there are some people who do it and they're fine with that because they sell in volume. Me, for using my gas to go find this item, I'm spending hours at yard sales and thrift stores. I have to take pictures. I have to launder it. I have to iron it. I have to make the listing. I have to edit my pictures. And then when it's sold, okay, sometimes I have to re-iron it again because it got wrinkled. That's more work. I have to package it up. I'm using ink from my computer. All of these costs add up and it's taking your time. To me, my time is more valuable than $3. So I'm averaging between $7 to $10 per item. Still, that profit margin to me does not make it worth allowing people to indiscriminately return after 30 to 60 days. Okay. Now you have to think, again, you have to do what's best for you. But for me, I don't see how it's worth it when you're not making a reasonable profit margin to now you have to take this item back. Okay. You have to accept this return. Okay. You have to start from scratch now with this used item. You don't know if this person has worn this item. Now you have to re-launder that item. Now you have to re-iron that item again, okay? And sometimes you might want to tweak it when you relist your listing. You have to print out another label. You're using more ink and things of that nature. There's a lot of work. I don't know why people make it seem like returns are just like the most simple thing in the world. Not when you're dealing with clothing, okay? There's a lot involved in clothing, which is why I think like I'm trying to move away from clothing. But that's another reason why, because the profit margin to me simply is not worth it. Another reason that I do not accept returns is that I don't accept returns after 60 days is because I really don't like how everybody accepting these returns has created rude monsters, entitled monsters who think that they can do as they please when they please. And I think that if we keep accepting these returns indiscriminately after so much time, all we're doing is really fueling, okay, this idea that small retailers or small resellers like myself are akin to Amazon. I am not Amazon, okay? I'm not. I don't have thousands of employees. I cannot get your crap to you in one day. I simply cannot do it, okay? So these people have these unrealistic expectations that they can take your item, not read the description. Oh, I don't like that anymore. And now I can return it 60 days later because all these gigantic retailers have given them the impression that that's just normal. Well, it's not normal for somebody who's selling used clothing. Another reason that I don't take it, and this is the last thing that I'll cover today. I do have more, but I want to wrap it up because I don't want the video to be too long and drawn out. Another reason is that, quite simply put, 14 days, that's what I offer, okay? And I'm being generous. I personally feel like I'm being generous with that. 14 days is more than enough time to take your item out the package. I'm gonna give you an example, but I'm gonna show you right now how simple it is to decide that you don't want something. I'm opening up my package. Oh, look at this. Cute little romper. Oh, for girls. Oh, let me call my little daughter over here. Let me try this little romper on her. Okay, that should take about 5 minutes. Oh, that doesn't fit her. This is too small. Why would I fold this up? Okay, why would I fold this up? Go put it in a corner somewhere. After I've tried it on my daughter, it doesn't fit her. Why would I go wrap this up somewhere, throw it in the corner, somewhere, and forget about it for 50 days? Somebody want to explain that to me? Do you want to explain to me why, if I've just looked at my item and it does not fit my child, or it doesn't fit me, or it's not the exact shade of blue that I want, why am I going to put that item to the side for 50-something days? And then after 50-something days, I want to contact you and tell you, oh, it doesn't fit my child. No. What I'm going to do, and what I think that most people should do, I'm going to take my little item, okay? I'm going to contact the person who sold it to me the same day. I'm not going to wait a week down the line, 2 weeks down the line to contact you and tell you. I'm going to contact you today because I got my item today. I'm going to send you a real quick 30-second email. You know what? It doesn't work for me. Can I return it? Simple, right? Now I need my seller to send me a return label so that I can return my item. And then I'm going to tell my post person to please come pick up my item and send it back to the person who sent it to me. How difficult is that? Tell me. I want one of y'all to tell me how difficult it is, what I just showed you, to try something on, to look at something, to decide that you don't like it, and decide that you want to return it, and you have 14 whole days to do so. Is that not enough time? Because I just explained to you how it takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your time to return. So I say all that to say that this is why I do not do 60-day returns. I think that it is absolute pure nonsense. I think it's foolery. And I think that in 95% of cases, it just doesn't make sense. Why are we accepting returns after 60 days? So that's just my opinion. Those are my views. Again, you have to do what works for you. If you've been taking 60 days return and you love it, hey, if you like it, I love it, baby. Do you. Do what works for you. But for me, I'm just a small little reseller, and I'm not really for it. I'm not for people not being responsible, okay? It does not take anybody 30 days, 35 days to decide that they want to return something. So tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about what I've said. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Don't start calling me names, though, because that's not necessary. We're not talking about religion or politics. This is just a matter of opinion, okay? Let me know what your opinion is down below in the comments. And that's it for today. Have a good one.